All right, folks, welcome back here for me for the final time today with the Call of Duty Challengers Cup, the first of the 2025 season. It's time for our final three teams in the North American region, and we're dropping into our lower bracket final between CTE and OMiT Brooklyn. Now, if you guys were paying attention, OMiT Brooklyn did just lose the upper bracket final, so now they want a chance at revenge cash.
In revenge, they're looking to take here early on as they're applying a lot of pressure here towards P1. Mercury's going to open up with a couple, so
Oh,
that'll let them garner
Mercules.
more time. And whew, 20 seconds still remaining as they're working their way around the map and finding kills effortlessly. They should have themselves a near 30-point lead going into P2, which we know is a nice little bit to have. Any amount is great, but so often have these leads been wiped away today, even early on. These hard points going down to the wire. I expect this one to be no different. You're pinned on the north side of the map. Top office is going to be location for P2, and who other than Hook that slipped a night?
Can't believe the hardpoint timer is working, by the way. Just shout out our producer for pointing it out. But we actually have a hardpoint timer, Cash. I actually cannot believe it. It feels like Christmas. Well, that's a month away, but still, it feels like a close tidings, as it were. Anyway, it's a good thing. It means that we can see how long is left on the hardpoint right now. There's a wealth of time to get for both of these two teams. CT winning the vast majority of the gunfights here. 3 kills in a row. Make it 4. It is just so incredibly difficult for players to get anywhere near the hardpoint. How difficult this is to break and flip out those spawns. And with 25 seconds left, you start to ask the question, is it really worth it at this stage? Neptune will certainly give it one last hurrah, one last little college try to make something happen, but I think as you start to lose your players here, now you're going to focus on, all right, let's just get the rotation instead.
Everyone for CTE. We're going to get active in the kill feed, looking to get active early on as well. Who got to 7 and 4 to kick things off, and you said OMiT Brooklyn should kind of thwart that effort, focus on rotation, and they look to give it up, at least initially. It's just going to be Spark here, so they take care of that. And again, Hoop going to be behind enemy lines once again, so you're trying to take care of things from the front. Taking care of gunfights is going to be Proloot, and it doesn't even matter that Hoop went on the flank. It was simply to secure spawns. Now, CTE find themselves in a great position here to garner even more time. Look to continue to push their now 30-point lead.
30-point lead and growing here for CTE. A reminder, this is a roster that I believe got reverse swept earlier on by OMiT Brooklyn. So for CTE, they want to get this one done much faster this time around. Strong start as well for Proloot. Now on 5 in a row. Looking for more damage to be dealt with up top. OMiT Brooklyn just cannot get near this hard point. Tyrael, they're going to try and cut their players coming off the spawn while the rest of the team get the job done inside the hard point. Tyrael looking to double up, will not be able to do so. And I think crucially here, Tyrael's little antics didn't just give control of the hard point to OMiT Brooklyn, it gave them the control of the rotation as well. Oh, Neptune.
Definitely put them in a wonderful spot. And again, who else do you expect other than the submachine gun players to make work of at least a scrap time? Look to get themselves a little bit, but again, that play behind Tyrael now allowing them a good opportunity to get the first portion of time here. The new hill, but quickly it is going to be CTE closing the distance across the map, trying to make their presence felt as they look to try to break. First wave is going to be held off, but the push through catwalk is going to be on. A couple kills fall, someone slips through, and that is going to be Cab. But again, trying to be taken care of, trying to wrap back towards the site is going to be OMiT Brooklyn. They group up, and that gives close spawns to CTE. They're on the prowl once again.
Kills coming through. Neptune only able to find a double, though. Is that enough to keep CTE away from the hard point? It wouldn't seem that that's the case, as Heap will find a couple of kills. Tyrael fighting for the scrap time, preemptively shoots towards the bathtub and will not find anything for it. So I'm in Brooklyn there. I think with that crucial hit towards that final hard point, will keep themselves in the conversation for this game. But CT have felt like they've been in the driver's seat thus far. We'll see whether or not that changes moving forward here as we get into the second set. But right now, it is going to be CTE, just a ever so slight advantage over OMiT Brooklyn.
Maybe trying to wait to see who can find. That answer is going to be nothing, as again they are playing for him. He's been the primary route player. It may be something they look to switch up, right? Because he's someone that if they don't see him in the kill feed after a few moments, they know to be looking for him behind enemy lines, and they've done a good job taking care of that as of the last couple of hills. So they're locking down P1 for now, looking to close this deficit, tie the game up, and perhaps even overtake it on a mixy P1. CTE cannot look to get too close. Brooklyn backing up. They're trying to also secure P2, even if they end up giving this. Now that you've got the majority, the lion's share of time for P1, you can even give it up and be a little satisfied in the sense that, okay, as long as we can lock down rotations, fine giving up scrap time. That doesn't look to be the case for him, but eventually CTE bullies them out. Now it's going to be contest heavy for P2 as they didn't get it as secure as they'd like.
Yeah, players hanging about here, and one of those players towards the backline is going to be Proloot, recognizing that he probably needs to get himself in a position where he can create some space. Proloot doing a lot of damage right now, keeping the players away from influencing the spawn. You haven't done enough to influence the spawns yourself in the favor. The Brooklyn comes through from OMiT Brooklyn and hold on towards this next rotation. So now for CTE, it's not so much about getting the spawns, it's about retaking this hard point. And they are definitely knocking at the door, but it's just not all that convincing. We need some kind of heroic play to come out of Capstone right here, right now. He will find one, but no more than that. It was an individual player heroic effort at that, but it's all for naught as OMiT Brooklyn hold.
There's still nearly 30 seconds on this timer, so it's a lot of time going to OMiT Brooklyn. CTE want to try to give this another push, especially since you're going kitchen for the new hill. They'd like to roll the dice on, maybe get a control here on this bottom left corner, and the spawn is going to be in the kills, not going to be the case. Is now a 35-point lead is accrued for OMiT Brooklyn going to new. They have players here as well, so CTE need to try to group up, need to try to have a coordinated break here. Otherwise, OMiT Brooklyn could look to continue running up the score.
All right, well, OMiT Brooklyn hit. Got a 30-point advantage. Let's see if it can grow. CTE not anywhere near the hard point at the moment. Mid-map coverage is great from Mercules. He'll finally get cut down. Is this good enough now for CTE to find their way through? Spark for the double. Looking for something here. OMiT Brooklyn cannot get through. Hugh finds a double of his own, and CTE now going to be back in for the back 35 seconds, and you're kind of faced with the stark choice, right? Do you actually want to put too much into this if you're OMiT Brooklyn for the risk of losing rotations towards new? They'll give it one hit at the very least. Proluke playing his life should ensure that this time does go to CTE, but OMiT Brooklyn still gave it a go regardless.
Oh, shaky shots there. Caps able to pick it up. So again, pushing forward, trying to get this rotation where they didn't the last time around is CTE. They were able to get a break though and garner themselves a fair amount of time, but you give them spawn control. Remember, it was the back end of Two Real's play that let them get spawns. This time around, OMiT Brooklyn don't quite have that, though they have bed control. They're trying to work their way through and clear out the rest of these players. They're able to do just that as the hill pops. It's a 3 versus 2 to kick things off. No one garnering time, as no one feeling comfortable enough yet to jump on it. That kill is going to let OMiT Brooklyn get in.
CTE just trailing right now. OMiT Brooklyn. Fast break would be great. You've lost all your players, though. All of a sudden, it is a full SMG wipe across the board here for OMiT Brooklyn. And now an opportunity for them to get a staggering amount of time versus CTE. Spartan Hugh opening up with the first couple of kills, though, on the potential retake. I don't think their control over this hill will be very long whatsoever. Yep, it's a short-lived bout of control for OMiT Brooklyn before CTE fight right back through here. Looking for the back 20 seconds of time. They can take the lead away from OMiT Brooklyn. OMiT Brooklyn trying to make it happen around the back line. Hugh trying to get some long-range shots against Fellow, and AR has the advantage at that range. So repositioning back towards the bedroom, and well, it's not going to amount to all that much. 1 versus 1 for the scrap time, and Proluke comes out on top. So CT here going to able to basically make things even Stevens going into the third and final set, Cash.
Third spin around the block. As you just called out, and yeah, it couldn't be a closer game here. CTE looked to overtake a marginal lead. OMiT Brooklyn got a good amount of time here the last go around. Expect it to be played with a little more pacing this time as both teams urgently closing in on that 250-point mark. You can't let a lot of time go here. CTE know that. OMiT Brooklyn know it on the opposite side as well. Cap trying to hit a route, see if he can shake things up with a different look as Two Real finds a couple and it's going to be sniffed out. Stopped by Neptune. While that's going on, the P1 battle's going down in Hook. In the mid to a little more long-range fight, going to take one with the Jackal, 28 and 21, trying to will his team into this one as now they overtake the lead, 210 to 209.
This is so back and forth, and again, a reminder that this rotation towards new is everything.
Jesus.
Kills being made here from CTE, and that one right there from Hugh might well have opened the path. I mean, Brooklyn know there's a gap in the gameplay they need to immediately plug, and they've done exactly that. 222 to 209 as we hit this next hurdle, make it 210 for OMiT Brooklyn, but they're starting to lose the bodies. There's a lot for Fellow to do around this backline. What can Fellow get done? Shots shaky, and CT will touch.
CTE, you're going to get in. That kill on Fellow was everything because now it's going to buy them at least 10 to 15 seconds before OMiT Brooklyn could even look to get into the hill. Jumping off of it was a bit concerning for me, seeing as they could have gotten any more amount of time needed to win, and now it's going to allow a player to hop up. Sure, they're trying to clear things out, but they hop back on the time, so trusting their ability to hop off, clear things out, and look to still not lose positioning. It's going to be a quick pushback from OMiT Brooklyn. They're going to try to get the break, and they need to here in the next 10 seconds.
Got to go now. Kills already been made from CTE for Fellow, to be honest with you. Can't really afford to wait. You've got to get these gunfights now, and CTE going to force the issue. Fellow can only walk away with one, and walking away with a map #1 victory, therefore, is CTE. They start this series strong, just as they did the last time around.
You're grateful for the good start? But as you were kind of alluding to, right, in the back of their minds, they started strong last time, but it did not quite end well for them. Ook, Pro Loot. I mean, again, two of the top players for this team when they need it most, absolutely going to bat. Though Spart had a slower one at 19 and 29. Again, you know that his presence is still felt. Cap made some big plays at the end as far as locking down rotations, playing patient for some kills. We saw him outside of P2 balcony, playing patient for a player to run by and find that kill, which ultimately secured that rotation for the team and gave them spawns. So again, everyone playing their role to a T. And it was a, gridiron, tough fought, hard point, but they walk away with the win there and talk about that breath of relief in a sense of okay out to having a 1-0 lead, but at this stage in Challengers Cup 1 no lead is safe, and that we've had 3-1 be what the furthest we've gone today and the NA side of things. As we get closer to that grand finals, which being the match before grand finals, I fully expect these teams to really try to dial in and make sure that they walk away with a win.
Yeah, I will say for how quick most of the games have been today, it's kind of funny, right? Because it's like how long we've been on broadcast. We're still behind schedule, which is hilarious for all the 3-0s and very short series that we've seen today.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, still, what an incredible start to this series. Again, it was such a back and forth hard point on the whole. And, I think you're already starting to see kind of the important rotations on the Skyline hardpoint, right? We know how important getting rotations towards P2 is on this map mode combination, and I think you certainly saw that in the closing moments of that game where they just had to make sure at CT we got to make sure we win those opening gunfights, get control of P2 so we can win out this game, and that's exactly what they did. So big map number 1 victory for CTE. Again, a reminder that these two teams have faced off once today already, and that was a reverse sweep in favor of OMiT Brooklyn. So for a CTE to come out on top of map number 1, I think that's exactly the kind of confidence booster they needed to move forward in the series.
Definitely, and last time they had played, it was CTE that took map number 2, of course. And looking at OMiT Brooklyn and how strong they've been playing Search and Destroy, again, just thinking back to the vault that we watched them on where Neptune and Mercules were just having their way in every regard in that Search and Destroy. I'm definitely very excited to see what they bring this time around, and knowing that, okay, look, we got bested in this mode the last time. Let's see what we can do to bounce the series back 1-0. But if they happen to fall down 0-2, obviously there's going to be that air of confidence where they're like, we've done it once before. Let's just do it again. Now, does lightning strike the same play twice if they fall? That's a question we'll have to ask and answer a bit later on. For now, they need to focus on the search and find a way to take it where they couldn't the last go round.
Can lightning strike twice in the same place? That's the question here as we have a Search and Destroy coming up. Not too sure what the Search and Destroy map is. We'll be surprised as we get into it because we don't know maps. That being said, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we've got Search and Destroy coming up in the lower bracket final. Folks, do not go far. We've got more Call of Duty challenges after the break. Alrighty, folks, welcome back here to the loser bracket finals of the Call of Duty Challengers Cup for North America, the first of the 2025 season, and we are now one map deep between CTE and OMiT Brooklyn, the former of which managed to take the hard point away. Now we're going back to an old favourite, it would seem. It's Vault, a battleground that we've seen a lot today. Let's say that much.
All too many times, and CTE, we've seen them on this today. Really odds favoring that we've seen all of these teams on this map. Regardless, it's a standard A push for them. They look to get bombed down, and again, it's a 4 versus 3. Not many lives have fallen, but this is where things can start to break out and start to go one team or another's way. But the point is, you've killed so much time if you're CTE. You've bought yourself so much time, but the two-piece lineup comes in. I was gonna say, I'm like, I don't know if I'm up for that kind of speed tonight. But again, as I was saying for CTE, they killed enough time to where really wasn't gonna matter all too much unless Mercules was able to line up those 3 kills. That would have been something different. They don't waste any time. Find a way to get the round done, even though it got mixy for a moment. You'd think if he had any more time to take that 1v1, that could have been a completely different round. CTE opened up with the first.
Dude, letting Neptune get anywhere close to a clutch like that is not okay.
Yeah,
It's giving us a heart attack for sure. Yeah, 3-1 start for Neptune. It's not enough. He's denied the ace that would have saved OMiT Brooklyn in that round. So CTE now. See where they go on the defense. OMiT Brooklyn rushing straight in towards A site. Nobody at least immediately to be concerned about. And I imagine the reason for that is not having the minimap to our disposal. It's probably because CTE are trying to flank. The first player doing so is going to get cut down, though. Prolu also attempts it and is being cut short. So, Brooklyn, they have responses here. Fellow really needs to try and play his life, though, towards the backline, and he's not able to.
Oh, what kind of timing can you find if you're Mercules? Both players look to get away, too. We are now going to jump bottom vault. It doesn't find the timing against Prolu. So, a 3 versus 1, all of a sudden, Mercules left in 1 versus 3. Going to try to swarm the site, going to try to stop this defuse from coming in, and it's not going to be the case. The route got read early on by CTE, and from there, they scrambled around the map, grouped up, and made a good push with one another. Quick 2-0 off the board.
2-0 off the board. CTE starting so strong here towards this search and destroy. And yeah, I mean, just again, the fact that we're able to pull that round away, given the fact that OMiT Brooklyn, I mean, they felt like they'd adapted really well to what CT were doing, right? They knew that they weren't aggressing towards the site, so they're probably going to be pushing through the middle of the map. OMiT Brooklyn, I mean, they put the right players in the right positions to deal with that, but just could not survive for long enough to hold out in the round. So CT starting this S&D very strong. We'll see on the offense whether we see a very similar look. Yep. Bomb straight down over towards A, wasting no time whatsoever, and you know where OMiT Brooklyn are going to try and retake from.
Now, the movement can't stand still down in lower vault. Otherwise, it feels like it's a death sentence. But you trust your teammate, you corner up that they can find at least one of these kills, but you're going to get the slide in. 2 real combines for a couple. Prolu answers back with a couple of his own. Prolu with 3. Neptune, last man standing. 1 versus 1. This is for the ace. This is for the 7 spree. Fellow, this is to get a round on the board. But time's dwindling. The hop comes in.
Dude, that's such a heads-up play call. To deny Prolute the ace, just be like, all right, I know Prolute's probably not going to hit the rechal here almost straight away. That would be kind of foolhardy. So I'm just going to hit this bomb defusal and hope that the check does not come through. Absolutely the right decision. OMiT Brooklyn find themselves on the board, but crucially, I think for CTE here, they do not stop Prolute on that streak. So he's still on 6 in a row here going forward in towards these next rounds. Something to keep an eye on as we move forward. I assume that's already an RC car earned for the remainder of this search and destroy. Node over the top. 2-Real does not do the conventional route through the window, and that means he's going to get tagged up from that. No matter though, back towards 100 HP they go on the hunt for Spa, and there goes Spa.
Felony gonna combine for another as well, hopping around the van, trying to do the do-si-do and put on skates there. OMiT Brooklyn with a quick couple of rounds as well to have in response. Search and destroy playing so close as we figured it might. Either team just finding success behind well-executed plays and no one really having a hard stop for one another. It's been big play after big play for either of these squads. We'll see who can look to try to secure a lead that's greater than 1 round.
OMiT Brooklyn, that is a very different look from them out on the offense, right? Choosing not to try and go for the bomb plant, but to go straight aggressive for players on. He felt stunned in that round. Talk about stun. Almost mid-map presence. Brooklyn are forced all the way away from the site. Players back right. It's gonna give CTA a wealth of how to play this round out. They can get the first blood as well. It's everything. Bomb. Incredibly planted though. 40 seconds on the clock here for OMiT Brooklyn to make a mistake, and they have to check a plethora of different places. They have not located any of these players for CTE on the defense. They are like phantoms at the moment. CTE just holding strong players. These gunfights, they've got just engagements, kills being traded in favor of OMiT Brooklyn, and Mercules is going to hop straight on that choice, but to flying towards the site, hits the jump over the top. Is it enough to actually take them off the defuse? I think it was momentarily. So Hugh offered up
No
another
way.
opportunity and baits them out perfectly for the stoppage of the defuse. Neptune might well survive the round, but Hugh makes an incredible play.
That truly was an incredible play. I mean, just to deal enough damage to scare that player off bomb. Of course, your teammate was looking over for you, but I think who dealt enough damage into both to, again, kind of spook him a little bit. Buys enough time to get him to hop off bomb. At that point, when he hops off, there's less than 15 seconds left. All he has to do is turn the corner, find the player defusing, and again, you're trying to play the timing if you're Neptune of, okay, he hopped up vault, he's going to try to hit a quick wrap. And that's just not the case. Doubles down, goes back through that same lane, and is able to win CTE a round that surely some could argue they had lost.
Yeah, OMiT Brooklyn losing that round out to a massive clutch up like that from Hugh is going to be a tough pill to swallow. Neptune, though, regardless, the fact that he survives the round means that a 4 streak will survive with him. Our C-Car in towards this round, now no longer on the table because Hugh just flies through towards the site and wipes them out. Goodness gracious, Hugh is just such a constant issue. Doesn't matter whether you're playing Search, Hardpoint, or Control, he is going to be a nuisance for you to deal with. And now, need a fellow 1 versus 4. Yeah, good luck with this one, pal.
Yeah, we'll let this round breathe a little bit as we'll see if Fellow can find anything here. Obviously, Hook planted firmly on bomb. Not going to let anyone get in there, and the rest of his teammates, as they clear out the map, figure, all right, he's going to be making a move here at some point. Make the easy read, find the easy kill, and now have that 2-round advantage and put themselves a couple rounds away from going up 2 in the series.
Man, Hugh just started that round so strong. Again, you really do have to give it to him. That aggression towards side, something we actually haven't seen that much on the defense so far for these teams, right? Is answering the offensive push by just straight up hitting the site, right? Hugh does it really what feels like for the first time in this search and destroy thus far, and it works out to perfection. So we'll see what the First Bloods look like this time around. Caps is getting aggressive here. First Blood looking pretty good. Mercury's now going to be out of the play. And again, keep an eye on it. You can see the players through the X-ray. They are all the way across the 50-yard line on the defensive side. Fellow, now 1 versus 4. What do you got for us?
I think I've seen this film before. And yeah, no, I don't think we like the ending. Picture-in-picture round. As far as what we saw the last time, and it just feels like CTE perhaps playing with their food at this point in a sense, the way they're moving around the map with such ease. Cap gets aggressive, and not too much, but again, finds a first blood, smart play to back up. As 2 Real is looking to try to get the trade, throws the sun down the stairs and just finds great timing. So knowing when to push the pace and when to back down, Cap still gives a perfect showing of that between he and Hook. They're on a combined 8 spree and a search and destroy, mind you. Sitting on map point, OMiT Brooklyn, just in this map specifically, they look like they're out of steam. They look like they don't have an answer, and Prolu gonna say, hold that. As they try to side up map number 3, Mercury still want a good trade.
Yeah, CTE want to speed run us into map number 3. Trades, though, are going to make things awkward. Still, though, wealth of options as to how they want to play this round. CTE on the hunt, on the prowl for these gunnies, and there goes Fellow in this round. So now OMiT Brooklyn have to try and find a way to flip the round in their favor. Hugh smells blood in the water, and he will go on the hunt for it. Neptune now for the 1 versus 3. Gonna make it now possible with those couple of kills. Now down to a 1v1. Capsidal versus Neptune. Streaks on both sides. Hughes will survive.
Neptune, playing slow, trying to make moves. Also, gonna scoop this bomb. Less than 30 seconds. Gotta commit to a site. Looks like he's working towards the site. I don't know if we're playing the EQ cheese game per se, but Cap is definitely watching and waiting and thinking and hearing for sure.
There's a lot of mind games into this. Cap, XP. Neptune now forced to either go for the kill or try and get the bomb down. Caps has gone for the fire. Bomb's gone down. Neptune gonna win the fight. The 1 versus 3 for Neptune. Incredible performance from him. Those first 2 kills are dirty enough, but he single-handedly keeps the game alive for the Omni movement.
Oh, and just the double back again. Just the slide underneath this Cap looks to Ego Chow, jumping, flying over the top, and just composure out of Neptune, cool as ice. As that's gonna give OMiT Brooklyn at least another round to fight back into this. Still down 5-3. Your CTE, if you're Cap, you might want that play back, but another opportunity for them here to take this search and destroy OMiT Brooklyn. Another round of life. Do they make good use of it?
That's the question. Is their life still in OMiT Brooklyn yet? Well, that's a good start to the round. Leave that Neptune on that first blood. Traded almost out immediately, though, as Nethello goes down. Still, their numbers in favor of OMiT Brooklyn here. 3v2. How does CT play this one? Well, you've lost another player, albeit it was for a trade. So now we need to see this one versus Pro. Spots out the first player. Shots out into absolutely nothing for the second. OMiT Brooklyn, yet another round on the board.
Maybe the spark they needed. Again, a good round for them. Inching their way back into this one. Prelude trying to get to cover and just can't in time. CTE lose round. Maybe you could argue OMiT Brooklyn starting to get something rolling, that 1v3, maybe sparking a bit of life into the team for them to rally back in map number 2. They'd like to tie the series up 1-1. They've fallen 0-2 to this team before. Still, 2 rounds needed to make that happen. CTE, it is the 3rd round where they have been on map point. All they got to do is find a way to walk away with one.
And this is a good start. As good of a start as you could ask for. OMiT Brooklyn are going to be able to get the bomb down scot-free. If they can survive the RC card, that would be great, and they do. A little bit of information off the back of that RC, though, for CTE on this retake. Can they get site control? Question. Isolating. There goes one. Big kill against Tyrael. Good trade coming through from Neptune, though. Numbers still favoring CTE. OMiT Brooklyn are far removed from this site. So, if anything, we at least need to see some kind of reposition here from OMiT Brooklyn to stop this bomb from being defused. There goes Mercules. There goes Tyrael as well. And there goes the search and destroy. CTE 2-0 up now in this series.
Great win. Just to be able to, again, know what they need to do in that, play it in tandem. You called that OMiT Brooklyn, they were split across the map. They didn't have time to regroup, so you could take both of those gunfights if you are CTE together, and that's exactly what they did with enough time to get the diffusion, of course. So, whenever the ball started to get rolling for OMiT Brooklyn, again, quickly to shut the door is CTE, as they've done time and time again against the squad. But this series is far from over. Though you see 0-2, these maps have paid so close inside of them, and map 3 again looks to be where OMiT Brooklyn have to kick off a reverse sweep once again. They did it earlier today, as you said, and I'd kind of called to at the top of the series. Does lightning strike the same place twice? One reverse sweep's hard enough against teams of this talent. Can you pull it off a second time is going to be the question. This is for a spot in grand finals. You called it. OMiT Brooklyn really want that revenge against KC Pioneers, and CTE are trying to make this miracle run as far as top 8 is concerned into grand final. So a lot on the line for either teams. You talked about it plenty too. Alex did earlier about the pro points on the line, not only prize money, but pro points and how influential that can be for the season. So this losers finals has a lot on the line for these teams. And you really have done all you could ask if you are CTE to set themselves up for success.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you say that CTE here, of course, OMiT Brooklyn need to pull off a reverse sweep. It is worth saying, though, there's obviously that kind of mental in CTE's head, right? Like, hey, well, we've already lost this once, 2-0 up, so it could be again. Just some food for thought there as we get into a potential map number 3 here. Before we do so, though, we're going to go to a break. On the other side, folks, what could be the conclusion of our lower bracket finals and the precipice of a grand finals here for the first Challengers Cups of the season. You don't want to miss it. See you after the break. Alrighty, folks, welcome back here for what could be the final time for the lower bracket final at the very least between CTE and OMiT Brooklyn. But it's worth saying that we have been in this situation before. We've also been in this situation before with the host ending the
Hmm.
game. We've been there before, and we're back here again. What I was going to say before the game ending so rudely interrupted me was that we've been here before with CTE 2-0 up versus OMiT Brooklyn. And last time around, it didn't finish 3-0. It didn't finish 3-1. It did finish 3-2, but not to CTE.
Yeah.
It finished 3-2 to OMiT Brooklyn. So we call that a reverse sweep in the biz. And there is all the chance in the world that that could happen again, because that's what OMiT Brooklyn now need to do to get a place in grand finals.
It's gonna be a tall ask though at that, the fact that we hype it up definitely adds to the storyline and, gives a level of dynamics to the series and what could be, but CTE look poised to close this one out. As the day has gone on, right, both teams continuing to play at what they would hope to be peak form, but what we've seen of CTE even earlier and since that OMiT series is, again, Hook and Prolu have simply been on a tear that many people have not been able to match. Of course, you have two of the most stout SMG duos as well on the other side, in Hercules and Neptune, who have really given them kind of a run, but they still find themselves up 2-0. Now, to say does the series end in the 3-0 fashion? Of course, as we've looked at, that's not quite the case as history tells us, but I don't know that OMiT Brooklyn maybe have the gumption to win 3 straight maps per se. Even if they take this one, even if they take another, I cannot see them taking more than 1 or 2 maximum. Even if it goes to a game 5, I would like to think CTE find a way to rectify those wrongs and not
Mhm.
let that happen once again. And that's not to say OMiT Brooklyn aren't capable. Of course, we've seen it, but I just think CTE find a way to close this series out, even if it ends up being game 5. I'm very hard pressed to see OMiT Brooklyn pull it off twice, but again, a squad that is very capable of doing so, and it's got to start with this control.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounded a little bit like, talking about CT surely not losing enough for first sweep. That sounded almost like a caster curse. It sounded like one, and we'll see whether or not
Not
it turns
me.
out to be one. Not you.
Not me.
Not
I'm
you.
not. Nope, you got the wrong guy.
Alrighty, we'll see what it is. Of course, CTE fans out there will probably not want that to be the case. Over Brooklyn, though, again, they are capable of it, so we'll see whether that's the case. We are hopping back into Vault for control. Again, this could be the final map in this best of 5. If CC have played how they played all day long, they're going to start things off on the offense. Immediately having to deal with flanking players, though. Do they recognize where Fellow is coming from? Well, he's now the only threat stopping CTE from getting an A capture through. Surely now we're going to see the advanced guard starting to move forward, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Huke the Nuke is here to play.
Off to a force spree as well, just covering the point for his teammates as they clean up kills around the site. So taking half progress in, you've only got one body on it, so that's why it's such a slow progression. But with everyone else taking care of all of the other entrances to this site, you really only need the one player, and that stack should be coming in momentarily. At least to close this one out. Hook gonna clean things up as they look to rotate over towards the B site. Over 2 minutes on the clock. Hook simply cannot be stopped. 5 in a row for the nuke. 9 HP, but he's going to continue to make noise around the map and try to get his team an avenue to get into B.
All right, well, that was a very quick offensive dub for CTE. Now they can follow up with another one here to take round number 1. They are picking up some more kills. If the control of the map is not problematic enough for OMiT Brooklyn, how about this life disparity that has been blown wide open? Now, 8 lives the difference. Make it 9 as Cap still finds the double. Make it 10. Another kill coming through, and the pressure really starting to mount versus OMiT Brooklyn. I don't think they'll want to crumble under it. You need to see something being pulled out the hat right about now. Any magic left in this OMiT Brooklyn squad today? Third tick about to be through, and no is the answer. How about that for an aggressive start from CTE?
And they took the A site first. As you had said, if map pressure, wasn't enough or the slaying wasn't enough, they have more problems. And then the fact that the stat came in towards the end. So OMiT Brooklyn unable to really do much around the map because of how well CTE played and just simply bullied things out. They bullied out A and had players roaming around just to make sure they had all of their entrances covered. They bullied out B, and they're knowing how kind of picky of a site it can be in regards to timings. Decided to stack the point, get it over with quickly with the numbers that they've had with how they've been shooting. Everyone positive for CTE. Great heads up play to close out the round now defensively. They hope to be able to apply this same kind of pressure and slow this push to keep OMiT Brooklyn from taking around here.
I'm in Brooklyn. They now know, I guess, especially the fact that we're in control now, that they have to answer with the same aggression that CC just gave to them. Doesn't feel like the start is in any way indicative of that whatsoever. Tyrael trying to provide some kind of coverage from up top, but CTE are just overwhelming at this point. Neptune will find one before immediately getting taken out of the play. CTE are bullying them off the start of this round, and granted, it's only a 3 life differential, but the difference between between these two teams from the last round to this one, the offensive efforts, OMiT Brooklyn are being suffocated at this point. CTE now having to deal with an opportunity here from OMiT Brooklyn. Can they find their way in towards A? One wave of gunfight, and they will be in, but there really isn't a lot of time, and they still can't win anything.
And they still have a 6 life discrepancy also. They have not found themselves in a good position as far as lives are concerned, let alone positioning like you had called out. 25 seconds and dwindling fellow, maybe a player in the position to make something happen. It's going to be 3 for 2 in the feed, so numbers favoring Brooklyn for a moment, but you're still going to have a player here in Hook on the site, and shaky shots almost gets punished for it. Spark going to clean things up. Cap as well on point, and as time's dwindling, that only goes to favor CTE. They need to make a play, and now that reinforcements are here for both sides, you've got to win your gunfight. CTE going to walk away with the first ones.
Oh, man. 10 seconds left. Now all the way down to 5. Time moving fast here in this game. OMiT Brooklyn, you've got to touch the point right about now, and you just have absolutely nothing left in the tank. CTE are rolling through OMiT Brooklyn. 2 rounds now. 1 control round away from 3-0 in OMiT Brooklyn and denying a second reverse sweep today.
As we called to the series previous on Volt, it's got to be 2 offenses they'll have to take to close it out in a 3-0. Their first one was rather convincing. I think, you can go analytical with it and be like, oh, well, this positioning and this timing and this awareness. Look, they are just handing it to OMiT Brooklyn. The slaying is abhorrent at this point. They finished their offensive round up 11 lives. They finished round number 2 up 11 lives. So again, the way that they are just slaying OMiT Brooklyn around the map and not giving them any kind of breathing room, always being up in their face. Pretty much why they've been taking care of things. Of course, you have your technicalities, but again, they have been shooting so straight that OMiT Brooklyn have no room for error. At least trade a few off the rip, but it's going to be shots peppered from every which angle towards Cat as they try to get this first tick of progress on a Mercules. Still someone they've got to deal with.
Let's kill through from Mercules. OMiT Brooklyn on the defense. It's just not anywhere near as aggressive. It's not anywhere near as assertive. Maybe this flanking play, this dual flanking play will be enough, and, well, the subs will be good enough here to stop CTE short. So, 1 tick through. So all CTE are going to get for now, but they have a lot of lives to play with. So whether or not this cat can land on its feet. Neptune, flanking player. It's going to have to try and cut off the problem as its source. CTE now choosing to try and switch things up a little bit. Spark basically playing distraction, creating a little bit of space. And yeah, I mean, it's such a perfect play, isn't it? CTE now have players on A.
They've had the clock stop for long enough. You would think with how long this round has gone on, in the sense that maybe they've only had, a minute 30 on the clock after capturing the A site if they get it captured, but they're going to be looking upwards of 2 minutes if they can close it out here, which they look to do. So they've had someone on the points at either turn of this round. The kills a bit closer, which is good from it. Brooklyn, a good sign here defensively, but they still have about a minute 45 they're going to have to hold on here in CTE. They're not going to stay quiet for long as they look to gear up and get ready for the next push.
CTE, I mean, they have so much time to make this happen. You've just got to be wary of flanking players. Nicely done from Neptune. Like a ghost, in and out he goes, but shut down by Spark. And I want to say this becomes a lot more one-dimensional. They do still have one more ace up their sleeve. That's Tyrael on the flank, but it's not long before he's going to get pressured by Spark. So if they lose Tyrael in this situation, it's going to be a real problem. And there he goes. Tyrael down for the count. CT starting to push players forward now. And Spaghetti-O, this one might be done.
Oh, the stacks coming in. They're spawning so far out, and that's because Cat pushed so far up the map. So again, you've bought yourself 5 to 10 seconds before they can even contest the point. Now you just have to hold your irons. Now you have to find these kills. 3 go down. Everyone on the point to close this one out. Reverse sweep denied. 3-0 in the control, 3-0 in the series. CTE come into play here in losers finals as they convincingly punch their ticket into grand finals. I mean, what a series out of them. Just to be frank, it was quite the sight.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just an incredible series, I think, on the whole, right? And I think in that control specifically, CTE are just such an aggressive squad. The way in which they're able to control the map pretty consistently, the way in which they're able to, I think, not just as a team control the map, but also individually, make sure they've got players constantly kind of doing various things on the map. We're like, okay, well, we need to kind of get XYZ control on the map. We're going to go send a player to do exactly that. I love watching the CTE roster play right now. And it is a
Hmm.
selection of players, a Huke aside for a second here, because Huke is obviously a kind of a new name for us here in Challengers, not so much for
Yeah.
CDL, but for Challengers certainly. But for the likes of Capstone, Spa, and Prolute, these players that have been in and around the Challengers. Again, we had that conversation about Caps being kind of in and out of Challengers
Hmm.
over the last couple of years, but certainly for Prolute and Spa, I mean, these guys have been challengers mainstays, and it's just these guys constantly being the top level of challengers, constantly providing this kind of gameplay. It's been an absolute pleasure to cast over the last few years. So good to see it popping up ahead again at the beginning of Black Ops 6.
It really has been quite the sight to see, and like you said, at the start of a new title, it's exciting to see kind of these mainstays show up. And unfortunately, in challengers, but fortunately for us, right, as casters, to be able to go over them, like you said, um, caster curse. We get immunity for this one series, so CTE. I won't say anything about the grand finals, but we're good for now. You had me scared for a second, Brody. But yeah, it was a fantastic series. And again, just to that point, right before we started talking curses and whatnot, it's just the way these CTE were playing, it just seemed so difficult to say OMiT Brooklyn could have found a way to take three straight maps with how well they were playing. I think OMiT Brooklyn just simply ran out of gas, ran out of steam. It was just a bit discombobulated towards the end of things. They didn't look as sharp as CTE was playing. So they're going to fall short, finish top three in Cup number 1. And now that kind of sets the stage for grand finals where we're going to have, again, KC Pioneers who have dropped one map in the top 8 today as far as Sunday's concerned, and the
Possibly.
same thing for CTE. So again, it's going to be a best of 7 that I just, who knows. I haven't known about any of these all day, and I'll continue to be clueless going into grand finals because it's Cup 1 and because everyone can pull anything out of a hat at any point.
Yeah, well, we are going to pull something out of the hat. It's Magic McCorn Meal. He's going to be here in just a second. It's going to be great because I have zero energy left. It's all disappeared, mate. It's completely taken it out of me.
It is
That being
1:30,
said,
so fair enough.
it is one. If anyone's asking, going to wonder, by the way, like over the last 3 series, why I have become significantly quieter and not my usual like, oh wow, what a game self. It's because it's 1:30 here, and I don't want my neighbors to despise me. So with that in mind, we're going to throw it to a break. After this break, we're going to get McCormill and Cash cast in the grand finals. It's going to be an epic battle. You guys don't want to miss it. We're going to crown our first Challengers Cup champions of the season after this break.